Harry, and you got Hermione, and you got the loyal Ron, and you've got Neville, who's kind of the underdog, but who shows his strength. And I think there are so many entry points for identifying yourself. So I think that also contributes to the popularity of the series as well.
Definitely. What experience have you had with other Harry Potter fans? Like, what is your kind of like interaction with them? Or do you have any really good friends that are Harry Potter fans like you?
I do have good friends who are Harry Potter fans, and obviously my kids as well. Anonymous internet interactions, yes, there's always that. And you know, it's kind of cool to talk to other people without, you know, having to say, I'm a professor and I teach this class, but just sort of interact on a fan-to-fan level. I also think that it's rather intriguing that a lot of Harry Potter fandom takes place online, where people do have the opportunity to be anonymous, and where it sort of creates a new community where you sort of rob yourself of your previous identity in society, and you just sort of interact as complete equals, just obsessed with the same text. So I think that's kind of interesting as well.
Yes, definitely. What websites do you frequently get onto that are like Harry Potter fandom sites?
Well, obviously, just check and see what's new on MuggleNet. I did spend some time on Pottermore in the beginning, but I did discover that I'm not capable of brewing potions. And I do read Harry Potter fan fiction as well, because I do find that really intriguing. Sort of how people take a story and transform it into something that is what they need and what the readers need.
Kind of like a closing almost for themselves.
Or even a subversion of the canon sometimes, turning both gender roles and moral norms in the canon on their head. Sort of the same function as, if you've read Bakhtin, talking about the carnivalesque, and the notion that sort of during the medieval carnival, people needed that outlet. They needed to sort of be able to subvert the prevailing norms. They needed to tell stories differently from the way they are sort of told. There needed to be sort of an outlet for the other views that are sort of normally suppressed. Yeah, sometimes I think fandom has that function as well, that it gets to play with sort of the overarching norms in society.
Yes. So you said you were on Pottermore, so what house were you in on Pottermore? We're curious.
Well, I was kind of, you know, hoping for all sorts of things, but I think the outcome was fairly obvious, wasn't it? I mean, since I actually took ancient runes in school, it had to be Ravenclaw. Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that.
Did you have like your own wand and stuff like that on Pottermore that was designed for you?
I don't remember if I got that far.
Yeah, Dominic's actually on Pottermore too, so he's been talking a lot about it. I'm not on it yet, but it's supposed to be open to the public soon, so.
All right.
So he was talking about that. So we thought we would ask you if you did have a Pottermore. So how has Harry Potter impacted your life, like, in a whole?
Well, it allows me to teach a really fun class. But I also think, you know, as a parent, it's given me a great starting point for those discussions that all parents have with their kids. How do we make choices in life? How do we know when something's right and wrong? As we talked about in class, you know, the Harry Potter books present a rather interesting and nuanced picture of how to make the right moral choices, especially in the fifth book, when following the rules under Umbridge's rule at Hogwarts would essentially not make you a very good person. And that is something that is really hard for little kids to grasp, because they equate following the rules with being good. But that's a good starting point for the discussion that sometimes doing the right thing means to break the rules if you're living in a society where the rules are unfair, if they're oppressive, if they're unjust.
Yeah.
And then you can start talking about social justice, and maybe that's the point to start talking about Martin Luther King, for example, or Gandhi. So yeah, there are some great starting points there.
Mm-hmm. See, as the generation that we're growing up in, as we said, that's very interesting that you say that, because I have never thought of it that way, because I don't have some kids to read it to.
Right.
So I find that very interesting that that's kind of like an entry point for you to talk to them about that.
Yeah.
So even though the movies and the books have ended, why is your fandom still so strong? Or even stronger, maybe?
Well, I know we're all really, really hoping that the next book will actually just be a Harry Potter for grown-ups, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be, but I think because the themes are still really significant,
Mm-hmm.
and because there's still a lot there to explore. And yeah, every time you read it, there's always something new. It's sort of, you're not really done with those themes. And I think we can also see, the impact of the series in how many books have come out after that, featuring child wizards going to magical schools. I mean, the story just resonated so much with people that now you find, Harry Potter ripoffs in all sorts of new books coming out. So it sort of created almost a new genre, wizarding school books.
Yeah. So in itself, it kind of created its own thing.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's it for now. I think that's all we need. If you wanna, do you wanna cut in anywhere?
No, I think you got it all. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, or?
I don't know anything.
Okay.